All right. Welcome, everybody. First of all, I have a disclaimer. I have a disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this video are those of my own accord. All right. They're not necessarily the reflection of the views or the positions of anybody from the Falcon organization, any other content creators, although they may agree. This is not their view. This is totally mine. All right. But today, guys, we're going to explore and dive into 5 shocking truths that Coach Raheem Morris hid after the 23-20 loss in Game 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's up, my Falcon family, my Dirty Bird Nation? You know what it is. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Atlanta Falcons Fandemic, the show built for the fans, where the heartbeat of the Dirty Birds faithful, where my fellow Fandemics never waver and the passion never dies. I am your host, Manuel McFarland, your Falconologist, the true and trusted voice for diehard fans who live and breathe this team. But guys, excuse me, let's be honest about that 23-20 loss to the Bucs. This wasn't just about a tough loss. It wasn't a bad break. It was a giveaway. It was a sequence of baffling errors that were hiding in plain sight. And for a minute there, it felt like the coaching staff was crossing their fingers, hoping nobody would call them out on it. Well, Coach Morris, Coach Robinson, and we're not going to leave out Jeff Albrecht, although the defense did their part. He's on the coaching staff. He was a former head coach. So he noticed this stuff too. But you got to put on notice, the fans have noticed it. I have noticed it. And today we're not just talking about the L in the box score. We're exposing the 5 truths about this loss that Raheem Morris and Atlanta Falcons hope you just forgot about. First of all, let me just say, I can take a loss. We've been losing for a long time. We can handle a loss. But most people, most content creators, most fans, and people from other teams will tell you is how we looked when we lost. When you had every possibility of winning the game. But today we're going beyond the final score. We're going to talk about the inexcusable clock management that felt like a rerun of a show you hate. We're going to get into it, why the run game completely vanished when it mattered the most. And we're going to talk about what's really at stake. This isn't about one bad Sunday, as we always say, any given Sunday. But in this case, it's about a pattern. It's about a pattern that could torpedo this entire season if things don't change and change fast. So let's get into it. Number 1, the first truth. The clock management wasn't just bad. It was a dereliction of duty. Let's just start with the most obvious, infuriating, and predictable future failure of the entire game, the clock management. Calling it a mistake is an insult to honest mistakes. This was a catastrophic failure of situational football, a truth so blatant that Raheem Morris himself had to admit it, even if he tried to downplay the severity. It's not a mistake. You've been through this same ordeal before. Failure to manage the clock. Failure to call timeout. Here we go again. But here's the deal. In the final minutes of a one-score game, a head coach has one job. Manage the situation to give your team its best shot to win. That means using every tool you have. And with the game hanging in the balance, Raheem Morris had timeouts in his pocket and decided he liked them better there. He just watched precious seconds burn off the clock, putting up all the pressure on his players to hurry up and execute. But hope it isn't a strategy in the NFL. You can have all the hope you want, but you're not second guessing nobody else but yourself. every play they got sent in, Penix had to let the clock go down. He allowed the clock to click down to 3 seconds before the snap. We all saw it. It was rushed. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but almost through the entire game, just about especially in the second half, when plays came into Michael Penix, he stopped and gave a lingering look to the sideline as to question the play that came into his helmet. Go back and look at it. I had to go look back at myself. Go back and watch the game when the calls came into the huddle and watch how Michael Penix looked back over at the sideline. Under a minute left, the Falcons are driving to try and tie the game. They get a completion, but the clock is bleeding down. What follows is pure chaos and confusion, a frantic rush attempt to get another playoff that accomplishes nothing, all while timeouts are just sitting there on the scoreboard. Morris said after a similar situation in a previous loss, in hindsight, it could have been a good decision or a better decision to take that timeout. What other reason could you have to not call the timeout? You're at the end of the game. Why are you saving your timeouts? You can't take them to another game and use them. They don't roll over to another game. But in hindsight, every fan on their couch, every fan in the stadium knew in real time it was the wrong call. This is not a tough decision. It's coaching 101. You stop the clock, you calm your team down, you call your best play, and you go execute. Instead, we saw panic. They rushed into a desperation kick that was missed, and they lost a game they absolutely could have won. And here's the most maddening part for me that isn't, it's not a new issue. We've seen this play out before. This exact brand of baffling clock management from Morris before. It's a reoccurring nightmare for us fans. The implication isn't just that Morris made one bad call. It's that he is fundamentally struggling with one most basic yet critical parts of being an NFL head coach. It's a flaw that has already cost his team dearly, and it continues, and it will cost them their season. I'm borderline thinking that being a head coach, Raheem Morris, is in over his head. And guys, do not get me wrong. I was all in on Raheem Morris being the head coach of this team. I even did a full video. I've done 2 videos on it, praising Arthur Blank for getting Raheem Morris to coach this team. But the way he has coached so far, he's making all the wrong moves. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. Second truth, the special teams weren't just unlucky. They were unprepared. For years, solid special teams were given for the Falcons. We just knew we were going to be solid on. We weren't spectacular. Our special teams weren't spectacular, but they were solid. But in a 23-20 loss, where every point is crucial and critical, the third phase of the game didn't just have a bad day. They fell apart. The shocking truth is that even Coach Morris admitted they have to get better there, a clear sign that what happened was a total failure. But guys, what was there to fix? Your team was unprepared. You have the same players basically from last season outside of Chris Blair. And you cannot tell me that one man disrupts your special teams. But let's take a look at the evidence. The most glaring issue was the kicking. After Younghoe Koo had a career-high 9 misses in 2024, the pressure was already mounting. And in a game decided by 3 points, leaving points on the field is a killer. We all saw it happen. A badly missed 44-yard field goal in the final seconds of a 23-20 game is the most painful example of a special teams meltdown. But it wasn't just that one kick. Even the made field goal that he had early in the game, it clanked off the upright. The entire operation looked shaky. It's almost like it was done on purpose. Nobody misses a 36-yard. I mean, you have to be pretty bad to miss a 36-yard field goal, and he almost missed it. Morris can call the performance an issue that they need to fix. He can call it something they need to fix, but the front office is telling a different story with their actions. The Falcons are already bringing in other kickers from workout this week. This isn't a random blip. It's a code red problem. When a unit that's supposed to be automatic suddenly becomes a liability, it points to a breakdown in preparation and focus. Coach Morris admitted the team may have to change his approach in certain situations because of the unreliability. It's field goal kicking, coach. Why are you changing? You just need somebody that's going to kick a field goal, consistently making the field goals. You had your man in camp in Lenny Craig, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But the implication here, guys, is terrifying. You can have a good offense and a solid defense, but if you can't trust your special teams, you won't win close games in the NFL, period. It puts insane pressure on the offense to score touchdowns because 3 points aren't a given. A huge part of the loss rests on the shoulders of a special teams unit that failed its biggest test, a failure the coaching staff now has to own. The one thing that you come prepared for in the NFL, your special teams. The special team are supposed to be your backup players. You have your gunner. You have your big man up front that can that has good hands and can tackle and can get downfield. That's it. Last season we had that. That was solid. I don't know what he called himself trying to establish this year with special teams, but clearly it didn't work. So we got what? That's two truths we don't went through, right? So, and I know I said a mouthful. So from that, that's already the ball game, right? If Coach Waters can't take any more from that, as those being the reason why he lost this ball game, coaching, management, special teams, that's huge. But I got to take a breath here, guys. I mean, if you're fed up as I am about how this game was handed away, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. This Atlanta Falcons pandemic, we're going to be holding this team accountable all season long. I know I am. You know, like I said, I can take a loss, but it's how we look doing it with the players that we have. We have a dynamic team, guys. Borderline super team. I know, people say, well, Darnell Mooney didn't play. You are absolutely right. But with the players that we have the next man up. But guys, if you're enjoying this breakdown, drop me a comment in the section below. What was the single most frustrating moment of this game for you? I want to hear it. Whatever it was for you that turned this game around, that upset you, that frustrated you, drop it down in the comment section. Now let's get back to these truths. Truth number 3. The run game didn't just fail, it was abandoned. Let's talk about the offense. Coming into this year, what was the one thing we were told that this team will be built on? A dominant physical run game. With Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, this team was supposed to push people around. So what happened in the 23-20 dogfight? The run game was a total no-show. Now I get it. We got a man hurt on the offensive line, but you cannot tell me that one man, Caleb McGarry, was so good that it disrupts your whole offensive scheme when it comes to running. The shocking truth isn't just that it was ineffective. the run game wasn't just ineffective. It was so ineffective that it was designed to shine. That's why it was so that's why it's so shocking to look at it and wonder what happened. But look no further than a critical 4th and 1 situation. This is your identity moment. This is why you invested in the offensive line and drafted star running back. You need 1 yard. And they got stuffed. It was a play that told the whole story for all the talk. This team couldn't get a push when it mattered. The stats are just ugly. Bijan Robinson was held to just 24 yards on 12 carries. Algier added only 24 more yards on his 10 carries. That's an offense that can't impose his will. Morris even admitted that they didn't want Michael Penix Jr. to throw the ball 42 times. But what choice did he have? The run game gave absolutely nothing, putting the entire weight of the game on the quarterback's shoulders. And for us trying to establish a run identity, where was our big package blockers? Like Charlie Warner, Felipe Franks, and Teagan. Well, I still can't pronounce this guy's name. I'm just going to say Teagan, the other big tight end. Where were they at? I mean, if you're trying to establish a run game, you got to have your big package in there, especially if you're going up the middle. And if you were looking for answers to a failing run game, that you should have exasperated all of your resources, especially when it wasn't working. Yes, we did use Tyler Algier, but it was how we used him. And on top of that, you have your arsenal of undrafted free agent who had the best minicamp I have ever seen for a running back. And he showed you beyond a shadow of a doubt that he deserved to see the field in Nathan Carter. So if Bijan wasn't working, Tyler Algier he did his job. But you was grasping for straws. You was looking for answers. So why not throw a surprise at Tampa Bay? Nathan Carter. I mean, what was there to lose besides the game that you gave away anyway? It doesn't make sense. And then you have offensive coordinator Zach Robinson, who was very suspect in his play calling and running Bijan Robinson, who was already having a suspect game. You want to run him up the middle? I knew we were in trouble when Bijan Robinson dropped 2 handoffs. I knew something was going to be different. And it seems like Zach Robinson was trying to force something to happen. But he didn't want to accept the fact. But this creates a huge problem for the rest of the season, guys. If Zach Robinson cannot come up with different game-changing scenarios for the offense, when game plan number 1 is not working, if he can't alternate and go to another game plan, we in trouble. If the Falcons can't run the ball, the whole offensive identity is a sham. It makes us look predictable. It forces Penix to obvious passing downs, letting defenses attack. It neuters the play action pass, a supposed staple of the offense. The failure isn't just about one game. It's a threat to the team's philosophy. Coach Morris and Zach Robinson have to figure out why a supposed strength has become such a glaring weakness. Now everybody knows exactly how to come at Atlanta. We set that tone. That's the tone we did not want to set. So to play us, they know now they don't really have to apply that much pressure. Just seal the outside to keep Bijan at bay. Because obviously we can't run him up through the middle. Unless something changed between now and game 2. Don't even want to talk about the run game anymore. Because I think Bijan will turn this thing around some kind of way. But let's talk about truth number 4. Morris is taking the blame. But guess what? We've heard this before. After a loss this painful, you expect the head coach to take the blame. And to his credit, Raheem Morris did that. You heard things like, we have to find ways to win those winnable games and assurances that they'll learn from it. But here's the shocking truth. We've heard this all before. And at some point, apologies without change, it just feels empty. It's like being in a bad marriage, an abusive marriage. The problem isn't the apology itself. The problem is the repetition. When a coach has to keep apologizing for the exact same mistakes, specifically baffling clock management, it stops being accountability and starts feeling like a lack of capability. After a similar clock management fiasco in 2024 and the loss to the Commanders, he said, you always second guess those things, and admitted a timeout would have been a better decision. So you mean to tell me going into this game, he didn't realize that he was back in that same position and needed to come up with a better way of calling timeouts? Now, here we go again, having that same conversation about the same kind of error. I mean, the implication is deeply troubling to me. That goes back to my statement earlier. Is Raheem Morris over his head? It suggests the learning he talks about isn't actually happening on the sideline. So what did he learn from last year? Make a mistake once is one thing. Making the same strategic blunder multiple times when the game is on the line is another. It creates a confidence issue. How can players be expected to play with poise when their leader on the sideline is making the same critical errors over and over? Like I said earlier, if you go back and watch the game, when the plays came into the sideline, and you realize the moment when Penix got the plays, Penix looks over at the sideline with these lingering looks. But fans, we are seeing the pattern. And most content creators are calling it out. This isn't just about 123-20 loss anymore. It's about whether the man in charge is capable of managing the most crucial moments of a game. Taking the blame is the first step, but it's worthless without the second step, fixing the problem. And right now, there's no evidence that a fix is coming. Yes, we did go out and hire another kick, bringing in another kick, field goal kicker. But we knew this was a problem last year. So why was Koo even still here? You gave this man a brand new contract. Now, if it's about money, then say that. You're not going to make it public, but we all know it's about money. It's a cap hit, a big cap hit if we release Koo. Well, we had to release them earlier, but now they have to do it. Otherwise, the season will be in jeopardy. But that fix has to come sooner than later. Truth number 5. Last truth. The team is facing a potential crisis of confidence. This is the truth nobody in the building will ever say out loud. It's the one they are hide behind cliches about getting back to work. It's real easy to say, you take what you can learn from a lost game and go work on it. It's easy to say that. But the fifth and most shocking truth is that you have to wonder if the team is heading toward a crisis of confidence, not in each other, but in the decision-making from the top. Think about it from a player's perspective. You battle for 58 minutes. You make plays. You put your team in a position to win the game. And then you have to watch as questionable decisions from the sideline undermine all of that work. You see the clock bleed away with it when a timeout was the obvious move. You see a special teams unit you're supposed to trust in fail in its biggest moment. You see your offensive identity, the power run game, get shut down with absolutely no answers. How can players maintain total faith when they see the same preventable mistakes sink the team again and again. Publicity, they'll always say the right thing. But privately, doubt has to creep in. It's just human nature. At some point, the players start looking at the coaches and wondering if they're being put in the best position to succeed. The potential fallout from this is the most dangerous thing of all. When you trust in a coaching staff, in-game management starts to fade, players might try to do too much. It can lead to pressing and a breakdown in discipline, all because there's feeling that you have to play a perfect game to overcome coaching errors. The team looked frantic, chaotic on that final drive. That could be a symptom of a team that isn't playing with the calm, steady leadership it needs, or it shows the lack of preparation from preseason. You guys saw it. It was 2 or 3 throws that Michael Penix needed to hit Drake London on. And it's not many times in the NFL you see a quarterback overthrow a receiver so bad that the ball skips down the field. The receiver normally gets a hand in on it, but it skips down the field like it was practice, like they'd never been together before. It's why preseason is so critical. The one thing that you tried to stop in preseason by not playing your starters is coming to hunt you right now. Injuries and unpreparedness. Both of them are coming to hunt you. Right now, your team is playing preseason. It's not regular season for our Falcons. This 23-20 loss wasn't just another loss. It was a crack in the foundation of trust. And if those cracks keep spreading, this season could crumble. So let's put all of this together. The 5 shocking truths. 1, the clock management wasn't just a mistake. It's a repeated and inexcusable failure. 2, the special teams weren't just unlucky. They were unprepared for the moment, and the team is already looking for a replacement. 3, the supposedly dominant run game wasn't just stopped, it was completely broken. 4, the coach's apologies are starting to sound like a broken record because the same mistakes keep happening. And 5, you have to wonder if this is a leading crisis of confidence that could poison the locker room. This 23-20 loss felt like a warning sign. It pointed to a sloppy situational football, a shaky team identity, and a failure to learn from past errors. Raheem Morris says he'll learn from this, but we have to see it. You said this last season. We have to learn from this, but you got put in the same situation and you came up with the same decision. This roster is too talented to have games given away by sideline blunders. The players and the fans deserve better. The question is, what happens now? Is this the wake-up call that finally leads to a real change? Or is it just another chapter in a story of what might have been? Now, let's put this loss behind us because not all was lost. Let's talk about one positive that still has me optimistic about this season, something we were all looking forward to, and frankly, they didn't disappoint. The defense. The Atlanta Falcons defense showcased several positive aspects in their 2025 game opener against the Buccaneers, despite a close 23-20 loss. The defensive unit demonstrated a very strong performance, limiting the Buccaneers to just 260 yards of offense. Rookie Billy Bowman had an impressive NFL debut, leading the team with 6 total tackles and recorded a half a sack. He was a key part of the improved defensive backfield. Half a sack. I think that was his first sack, but it might have been a half a sack. But anyway, rookie Xavier Watts had a strong debut. He finished the game with 6 total tackles, all solo, and 2 passes defended. He was noted for nearly securing 2 interceptions. He almost had that one where Mike Hughes got beat, and he was going to help out on Ibika, whatever his name is, the wide receiver for Tampa Bay. He almost got an interception on that. He would have added that to his stats. Jesse Bates, the veteran safety, he continued to be a stalwart in the Falcons secondary with six interceptions in the previous season, and a reputation for being an all-pro level player. While individual stats for this game weren't available, he undoubtedly played a significant role in limiting the Buccaneers' passing attack, which was held to just 167 yards. Now I remember him. Jesse Bates had one significant tackle. I forgot the scenario behind that, but his name was called a few times for tackles. Leonard Floyd, a new addition to the team. Floyd was expected to be a major contributor to the pass rush, and he showed flashes of that potential in the opener. Even though the team only had one sack, the Falcons defense as a whole was able to apply pressure and limit big plays, a positive sign for the season ahead. Now, the 2 touchdowns to their rookie wide receiver, they were pretty big, but they were in the red zone, so it was expected. They didn't give up no huge 40 and 50-yard gainers. Let's put it like that. Cornerback AJ Terrell had 6 tackles, 6 passes defended. No, I'm sorry. 6 tackles, 6 solo, and 2 pass defended. Very nice game for AJ Terrell. Solid game. I think Michael Evans, I think he had 2 catches on AJ Terrell. I mean, even as a shutdown corner, you still not going to stop everyone, right? So, and that's not what it's all about. But at the same time, Mike Evans, he did catch some passes, but it's Mike Evans. He's going to be a handful for anybody that gets on him. I was just glad to see that AJ Terrell stepped up to the plate and did what he needed to do against Mike Evans. Cornerback Michael Hughes, he had a stat line of 2 combined tackles with no solo tackles and 2 assists. He was also credited with 1 pass defended. Additionally, he was the primary defender on both of the Buccaneers rookie wide receivers, Emeka, I can't pronounce his last name, on both of his touchdowns. And there was one video that's floating around out there where it actually shows Michael Hughes getting turned all the way around. And I mean, it was not even close. What was sad was Mike was actually looking at the guy and watch him get, I mean, you guys have to see it. It's just not a good look for Michael Hughes. And the same thing happened to D. Alford last season. Both of them looked exactly the same. But anyway, edge rusher James Pierce, he had a strong NFL debut. He recorded 4 quarterback pressures, but did not register a tackle or a sack. But despite that, he showed a high win percentage on his pass rushes and was noted for generating a strong push. So just give him time, and he'll get it figured out what he needs to do to get past these bigger offensive tackles. Like I said before in another video, James Pierce Jr. is just a little light for me, but like I said, he'll figure it out. I got faith in him on that one. Linebacker Caden Ellis had a stat line that included 5 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 pass defended. And to note, Caden Ellis was on the field 100% of the defensive snaps. That is huge. He also had 1 pressure on the quarterback that made Baker Mayfield take off. But what's notable is that he played 100% of the defensive snaps, and he's only going to get better as the season goes along. Come along. Jeff Albrecht is going to enjoy coaching Caden Ellis. Linebacker Jalen Walker, he had a stat line of 1 tackle on Baker Mayfield, and he got some pressure on Baker as well. And hopefully he'll be able to improve. But my guy for defense in this game, Divine Diablo, strong debut for the team. He finished with 6 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a half a sack that he shared with Billy Bowman. He also had 1 pass defended and 3 quarterback pressures. Diablo was all over the place. I'm thinking they missed something. Because I swear every tackle that happened that Diablo was there. The Falcons defense demonstrated a significant improvement from the previous season, holding a strong Buccaneers offensive attack in check for most of the game. They limited the Bucs to just 260 yards, like I said before, and forced 2 turnovers, including 1 interception. While the team struggled with penalties and ultimately fell short, the defensive effort was a major positive to take away from the opening game. So, Falcon fans, that's all I got for today. What do you think is the single biggest issue holding this team back? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I read every single one. If you appreciate this kind of in-depth breakdown, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. The overall stat line for this game, I have that video coming up next of this game. I have that one coming up next. So you don't want to miss that one. Thank you guys for watching. And until guys, let's just rise up. All right, Pandemic family, that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in and sharing your passion for our Atlanta Falcons with us. Your energy and support are what make this community truly special. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a 2 thumbs up, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our exciting content. And seriously, don't forget to hit that notification bell right next to that subscribe button so that you'll be the first to know when we drop new videos about our beloved Dirty Birds. And as always, continue to rise up, and we'll see you in the Super Bowl.